A couple of days ago, I showed you a haul I got from the flea market. Had some great items in it. I decided the first item that I'm going to restore is this nice caliper. A wood and brass. I've never owned one of these like this. Looks like it would look great restored. So this will be my first entry, or first item from the haul. Another item from the flea market, another $5 item, is this interesting little caliper, wood and brass. Nice item to restore. Looking forward to seeing how this one comes out. Seems to be working very well, in a good condition. I'll find out how true it is and restore the wood and brass on here and show that one off when it's ready. For this restoration, I did some experimenting. You know, I've used the Flitz polish and it's worked very well on brass and metals. However, the wood needed to be restored on this too. And I thought, well, it was an inexpensive item, just cost me a couple of bucks. Why don't I take some time and experiment with different finishes to see what I could come up with? So what I did was started combining ingredients, putting them together. You know how Scout Crafter does his half and half lubricants and other items, and they work quite well. Well, I decided, why can't you do that with cleaners? So here's what I did to create my formula. I put together Flitz, mineral spirits, and alcohol. The 91%, which is a stronger grade, and I experimented with different amounts. What I ended up with was 50% Flitz, 25% alcohol, and 25% mineral spirits. I was able to put together a concoction that was a little, you know, it wasn't thick like the Flitz. It was runny, you know, liquid, fluid. So I took this item and soaked it for an hour. I thought, what the heck, if I ruin it, I ruin it. I'm going to give it a try. So after an hour, I took it out, wiped it down, looked at it, and saw some progress. Didn't see any damage. I thought, well, okay, let me continue on. I put it back in for another hour. Actually, I did this 3 times. At the end of the last time, I got it out, and I scrubbed it and scrubbed it and polished it and scrubbed it with the formula. What the secret is when you think you've got it right, don't quit. Keep going. I kept polishing and polishing. I spent a good 2 hours on this. Took it apart, cleaned each part, and it was amazing to watch the transformation. You know, as I kept polishing, it kept getting better and better and better. So at the end of this process, my finished product was just outstanding. I mean, look at the difference. Not only was it just a better item, it had a digital gauge on it. I mean, this formula is just wonderful. You've got to try it. Okay. I can't even continue with this anymore. I guess I should show you the real item now. Here's the real restoration. And of course, I did it the right way. I took the wood, scraped it, scraped it, scraped it. Now that's one thing that I kept continuing. I kept scraping. My gosh, I can't believe how much finish came off. With that small part, my fingers were just sore from scraping. I spent a lot of time. I did a cleanup and then I created that much of a pile again. But it really got it down to the bare wood and allowed for a better, you know, a better finished product. And of course, I took it apart. And all the brass, used Flitz on it, buffed it over and over and over, and of course it did the job. The wood itself, I got down to the bare wood and sanded it. Finally with a 150 grit, got it nice and smooth. And then I put in my oak stain I use a lot. It's called Provincial Oak. I use it on a lot of items. And you can vary the depth of color by just, leaving it on longer or giving it an extra application. But that seemed to be the right for this item. So it turned out very nice. Doing it the proper way. Don't use my formula. I'm afraid that probably would destroy your item. Another item I want to talk about. I bought this pair of pliers recently. Paid a few bucks for it. And it's made by Channel Lock. It's become my favorite pliers. It's my real go-to. It's a nice looking, well-made item. I'm used to seeing regular Channel Locks. Some fella named Joe owned this. Put his name on there so it would be a forever item, but I own it now and I wouldn't give it back for any reason or even sell it. It's just the right size. Some pliers are larger, but usually when I use pliers, it's on a project. If I had a bigger nut or bolt to turn, I'm going to get a wrench. This is for smaller items. So what's good about it are the nice jaws that grip here. And the end piece jaws are knurled, but a crosshatch type knurling rather than the straight knurling on a lot of them, so you can reach in and get nuts and bolts from the end and turn them. It grips it quite well. It's got a good grip. It's got a good grip here. It's got a cutter. And it's just a nice size. I throw them in my pocket when I'm going to do a job, and easy to carry around and just works great. Another item I came across searching the internet, the good old internet. This is a Ford Motor Company toolkit. Standard equipment and accessory tools for driver maintenance, 1924 Model T. It was in a nice wooden box. Look at the items in here. You've got the jack, the tire tool. These wrenches aren't labeled for what. Of course, the tire pump. And then a spark plug wrench and a head bolt wrench, along with a Ford adjustable wrench. I've got one of those. Most of you probably have one too. A pair of Ford logoed pliers. And really a complete kit. In addition, for maintenance, of course, it's something called a spreader. I'm not too sure what that's for, this tool over here. But a screwdriver, a tire gauge, an oil can, a tube repair kit, a grease gun, an instruction booklet for your automobile, and a pair of leather driving gloves. A nice little kit that they supplied with the Ford Model Ts. As far as the tube repair kit, yep. When I grew up, and some of you did, some of you didn't, but we had tube tires in our bicycles and our cars. No such thing as tubeless, so when you had a flat, you took the tube out, you patch the tube with a patch, and then you put it back in. Pumped it up. You didn't have to take the tire off the vehicle. You used the tire tool over here to get the tire free from the wheel hub itself. And of course, they weren't sealed tight like tubeless tires are. They were held against the tire rim, tire wheel, by the pressure of the air in the tube. So you loosen the tire, you let the air out, you pull the tube out, patched it, put the tube back in, inflated it, and put the tire back into position. Of course, if you ran over a nail or hit something, that tire was gone. It wouldn't last long because once it punctured the tube. Not like tires today that have some sealing properties. But I thought it was an interesting kit, a nice nice toolkit with lots of items in it. So that's my restorations for today. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'm really enjoying this nice item.